Tony, can you say something about this body system after so-called liberation? What changes are in this body system, perhaps?
It's very simple in a way. There's hardly any change, except that, of course, the whole contracted sense of anxiety or whatever is no longer there. So you could say there's obviously a relaxation in the body. The body would relax while it's not in a sort of state of tension. And the other thing is that being me, being an I, is very wearing. It takes a lot of energy because you grow up and you learn how to present yourself in the world, or you think you do. And then you have to work hard to make that successful or not. And make all sorts of adjustments if it doesn't quite work. and that whole energy holding the self together simply isn't there anymore. There's nothing left. So there's a relaxation and more energy. The only thing is that, strange enough, just at the beginning, there can be a great tiredness when it's all over, that charade is over. There can be quite a lot of tiredness from that. And then there's a lot of energy.
And especially perhaps in the head, that there is something happening in the head?
Not really. This is not, separation isn't a brain, although the brain is partly responsible for inducing and constructing a separate I. Essentially it comes out of nothing, of course. But the brain is not, the me is not kept together, in the head. It's a whole body thing. It's a body sense, separation, me. So no, there's no particular. The only thing that obviously begins to happen is that the mind isn't so busy with neurotic thoughts because it can't find anybody to talk to about them any longer. Trauma is still held in the library. The brain takes on trauma and conditions and trust. So the trauma that's held there can be held there after there's no me anymore, because the brain would keep it in its library. It keeps it in the brain. But as I say, previously to that, it was talking to me, the apparent me about the neurons. They were both feeding each other, saying how awful it all is. And then suddenly there isn't anybody to say how awful it is anymore. So it slowly falls away.
There's no energetic change in the brain or in the head, but when this head relaxes?
Not as far as I know, no. I don't know much about the brain. Well, the neuroscientists have already established that the idea of there being an individual with free will and choice is totally illusory. There's no such thing as an individual. It's a construct out of the brain. The brain, in a way, assumes that the world is part of the brain, apparently assumes that the world is separate, so it takes part in the construction of an apparently separate individual in order for the two to handle the separate world, not only handle it, but try and dominate it, which what we've witnessed in the last few thousand years is how the apparent individual and the brain have come to dominate the apparent world. Of course, all of that's only in the brain. It's completely meaningless.
I mean it more on an energetic level here, for instance.
Not necessarily any more than anywhere else, no. As far as I know. There's less thinking activity. Thinking slows down.
So, Tony, it is possible to say that
This is good, isn't it? It's a joke.
I try.
No.
Is it possible to say that awareness is a function of the me? Awareness
Sorry,
is a function of the me?
the brain,
No, awareness. Awareness is a function of the
awareness is essential for me to stay as.
Yes, and sensing is a function of the body.
What is?
Is sensing a function of the
Sensing, oh yeah, sensing is just what happens. But awareness is no, I mean it's just, it's an animal, it's just it's just an energetic, but the awareness is it's an artificial construct which keeps the me separate. Me is fed by the awareness. And the amazing thing about something like self-inquiry, of course, is that it depends on and focuses on the strengthening of awareness. So it very effectively keeps me even more separate. And leads to detachment or even worse, disidentification. Disassociation.
So most of our lives we have been running around with this talking voice in our head.
Yeah.
I don't want this, I want to do that. And this voice pretended to be us. And this voice, we thought we are this voice.
Yeah, you are the seeking, you are the separation, me is the separation.
And it was a misidentification because this voice just happened in the head, but it didn't do anything.
No.
It just happened in parallel to what was happening,
Absolutely.
but it was not the originator of what was happening.
No, the originator of what's happening is nothing.
So
nothing is the source of everything.
So it's basically like you're sitting in front of a tree, someone comes along and says, what are you doing here? And then you say, can't you see I'm moving my branches? And then he says, no you're not. Yes I am. Can't you see?
Yeah.
And then he says, that's rubbish, you're not the tree. And suddenly you realize you're not the tree and you walk away and you're free. Because you have found out that it was a misidentification.
But freedom doesn't come from a realization, it's energetic, but yes.
So basically it's about the misidentification of what you are.
Yes. Well, yes, except that is born and comes out of an energetic contraction. The energetic contraction is the initiation of a sense of misidentification.
So once I realized that there was a misidentification, I could now say, well, I can't do anything and go into some kind of sleep.
No.
Or there's still the possibility that maybe there's a part of me that can still do something, and I just have to identify myself with the right part of me, who then is a powerful creator.
There isn't the right part of you, you're completely fucked up.
Yeah, that's one option, to say I can't do anything
right, because it's in an artificial. No, this isn't to do with the realization of anything. It's simply a shift out of contracted energy, but only apparently. It doesn't really happen.
So it's not a misidentification, it's about...
well, there is a misidentification, but it's not the realization of that misidentification that brings about freedom. That's just another story in a story. I realise I misidentify, but who is realising it? Me. So you're still stuck in me, realising that there's no me. I have quite a lot of people who say, oh, I know there's no me, but then I say to them, well, who knows there's no me? Who knows that? Oh, me. So it's just another, in a way, it's just another intellectual, it's just another conceptual.
So it's not about identifying with the right thing, so to speak, it's about not identifying with anything anymore.
No. Sorry.
Thank you.
Are there like indicators when this identification starts to fall away or seems to?
There can be a softening of the me which can go on. I mean, for some people it's absolutely direct. I mean, not come to a meeting, but let's keep it simple. I mean, it can happen anywhere, obviously. But it can apparently happen anywhere, in any circumstance. But for some people it's absolutely direct. Bang. Suddenly, bang, it's all over. That's fairly rare as far as I can tell. But when people come and are open to this, what can happen is the breaking down or softening of the me energy. And in some ways that can be sort of recognised. It's still me recognising it. Oh, me, oh, I'm not so, you know. But that can be recognised. But then I have to say, and I'm sorry about this, but actually you could have a less me for the rest of your life, or permanent life, or maybe only for a week. 1 hour. There's no one that can tell that. It can all be over suddenly. But there can be sort of indications. The only difficulty with that is that me wants, you know, marks and flags. So I've got to hear now, and I'm getting there. So it has to have, you know. But yeah.
Tony, there are many teachings saying that there is a higher self. And
there's thousands of them. I can give you a list.
And that you have to find this higher self, and you have to identify with that higher self, and then you are free.
Totally. I would say most teachings are based on that hierarchy idea. And also, of course, the misconception that you have some choice to reach that higher self. It's all about aspiring to something. It's where idealism comes from. You know, we see many idealists in all sorts of fields, politically and so on. That comes out of the higher self, aspiration.
Yeah, it's just on the subject of the higher self, really. I mean, I'm not saying I can reach it, because that's not really a claim. Well, you would admit.
Well, you could think you were reaching it. I thought I had when I was 25.
Yeah.
I didn't stay there long.
But
I preferred the lower self.
the lower self is.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
But I mean, do you or would you concede that it's a possible worldview that the higher self did exist, even if we couldn't reach it?
Oh, absolutely. No, there's no question. You could see in the world the way in which the me or the self aspires to the higher self, not even spiritually, but also in every other way. Like, there's a higher self that can be successful in the world, you know, rich or powerful or politically powerful. Well, that is all about aspiration. It's only about aspiration. But in the spiritual world, the higher self is very, very precious. It's the holy cow that you have to, you know, try and reach or become worthy of. Because, of course, all teachings are based on a very true experience of the me, that it's unworthy. Because it gets apparently rejected out of paradise, and it immediately feels like it's lost out, that there's something wrong with it. All of this is only apparent, not real. And so the self feels unworthy. Most teachings are to try and correct that or change that. So most teachings are trying to lead you into becoming more worthy of something. Imagine you can then be worthy of. And that is very much influenced by the idea that the higher self is superior to the lower self. It comes out of the basic, fundamental problem with all teachings, and that is that they're based on the idea that the absolute is separate from the relative. The absolute is in a great pink heaven, you know, very pure, and the relative is us awful grubby, filthy people down on earth and all of that. So there's a huge dichotomy built into all teachings based on that fundamental misconception. But then the higher self, lower self comes out of that idea.
But would you say the higher self existed, or?
No, there's nothing that exists.
Yeah.
In that, so there's nothing that is real. Everything is cellular appearance out of nothing. But within the world, the separate, dualistic world of the self, the higher self absolutely exists. It's real. It's a belief that it's real. But it's only, of course it isn't, because there isn't a real person anyway.
Yeah, okay.
That's why there's such a thing as hierarchy with teachers and so on. They have a hierarchy of teachers in certain fields. Some are at a higher level than others. It's all the same disease.
Yeah, I've never made that sort of distinction, actually.
Oh, right.
I mean, if I thought of it at all, it's as part of me. I mean.
Well, the idea of self, higher self and lower self is part of you.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, yeah, but
yeah.
I never imagined if you became, the leader of 3 billion people, that would necessarily be the higher self.
no, right, no. Mike, someone? No? Over there.
Hi.
Hi.
So I can nothing do?
No.
Yes.
It's worse than that. There is no I.
And maybe the I is fall away sometimes. Maybe not.
Maybe the I is...
Fall away. It's by grace.
There isn't a real I. I don't think you even heard the part. There isn't a real I. There is no I.
But there's an appearance.
In the world of the I thinks it's real. That's the dilemma.
Yes. And maybe I recognize, or there's a knowing that the I is, the appearance of the I is fall away.
Yeah, but the only thing is there's something else that knows that. It's still a dichotomy. The I, there's something that knows the I is an illusion, is still an I.
Uh-huh.
It's just another clever I.
Okay. And it's also not necessary that the I falls away because it's an appearance.
It's not necessary because it was
Because-
never there anyway.
Because it can't fall away because it's not there. Beautiful.
This is dead easy, I tell you. It's the laziest, this is the laziest communication there is. It's about divine laziness.
Did you do anything?
No, obviously not. No.
You did something apparently.
Well, apparent doing seems to happen, but it has no influence on this at all. There's nothing to do.
No influence, but nothing yet. You exercised.
I didn't exercise, but exercise very occasionally happened.
It had, yes. I believe cause and effect.
No, there's no cause and effect. Cause and effect is another appearance. There's nothing that's real. So doing something as a seeker doesn't bring about liberation. Seeking is the most effective energy to avoid liberation.
But most people don't seek and don't get...
There isn't me can only seek, whether it's our sort of seeking we're talking about or just seeking comfort, power, great wealth or whatever. But there's always seeking. Me can only seek because it can't find home. It's lost home. So it seeks home.
In your first life, you also were a seeker.
I don't have a second life. As Tony Parsons, I was a seeker, yeah. Apparently. A crap seeker. A crap seeker. I wasn't very good at it. I didn't somehow believe in it. And I was naturally lazy then. So it's even worse now.
And which exercises did you do?
Apparently,
I just thought I'd ask about aliens
oh
and alien abductions.
God, I like that.
I mean,
Especially the one, the sexual one.
no, I mean the reason I ask is that they do seem to have a higher intelligence or a higher ability than humans.
So it's believed. I believe that aliens must have a higher intelligence.
Well, it's not to do with belief. For me, it's a matter of looking at the evidence.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not trying to say I prove.
No, it doesn't matter but there are real aliens as far as you're concerned, that they have a higher real intelligence.
Well, yeah.
No, but that's right. But that is simply energy appearing in that form. Aliens, ghosts, whatever you like, don't matter, angels, are simply energy appearing in that form. Energy is magic. It can be anything. It can.
Yeah, but what you're saying then in the world that everything in it is coming from human consciousness.
No. Fuck, God. Absolutely not. That's exactly what I'm not saying. Everything comes out of nothing, and aliens are simply energy out of nothing appearing as aliens, just as that is. Human consciousness transforms everything into a dualistic reality. It doesn't. It's not the natural reality. Human consciousness lives in an artificial reality.
Yes. So what you're saying is that anything that we consider exists, it doesn't make any difference.
Nothing makes any difference anyway.
Because our human consciousness
is very limited. It's a very limited. Human consciousness lives in a very limited world.
Oh yeah, I'm not doubting it.
But it might also believe there are aliens. But if aliens appear, it's simply energy appearing as aliens. It has no significance or importance of any kind at all. Just another appearance, just like the clouds or a flower. It's just another appearance. There's nothing special about aliens. There's nothing special about anything. But the problem for me, the I, human consciousness, as you call it, it's always looking for something special. So it wants somewhere to be something exciting it can get hold of. Just it's looking for something it can't find. So it turns everything into something special, like the Pope and aliens. They go together. Mike, please, someone. Thank you.
And what about idea of establishment? When the Smith
Punishment,
establishment.
establishment.
Yeah, when the Smiths drop and still some tendency continue and like establishment and nothing, or it's just idea?
You're talking about society and
No.
politics, established.
No.
Oh. What do you think of as establishment?
Like a roots, you know, like
Like an established movement,
yeah, like establishment.
like Christianity.
No.
Oh. Well, that's all. I was going to be rude, but established belief.
No, I mean like there's still some tendencies, so like for example, thoughts that you believe not anymore, and still establishment and nothing, or is no establishment?
There's nothing that is established. There isn't anything that's established except through belief, or trust, or faith, whatever. It's a man-made. The establishment is a part of the story. Me wants things to be real and solid and, you know, reliable and dependent. Me is really frightened of this because this is about the unknown. Nobody has any idea what's going to happen next. Me doesn't like that. And I shall make everything new.
It seems that the me is more stronger at times, and then it gets weaker at times.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I'm wondering that I'm not panicking for different reasons. And I'm thinking, why am I not panicking? But there's nothing there,
Yeah.
And it seems strange because some part of my brain says you should be panicking, but there's nothing then.
Yeah.
So
No, it's just like that. Like, in a way, you're in two worlds. And
right.
the old world says, oh, this should be frightening because where are you? And then there's something else knows there's nothing that can be done about that because actually nobody is in a fixed, safe place. But the experience can be there that this is all floating now. But part of you feels like you should panic, but that's the old me saying, you're not in control anymore. Try and get back in control.
But then there's still no panic.
You were never in control. Nobody's ever been in control.
Right.
That's really.
Seems like the only certainty is uncertainty.
Is
Like the only thing certain is uncertainty.
unknown.
Yeah.
When something like Paris happens, then you get everybody from all over the world saying, this is outrageous and we're going to do something about it. This is me, rising up and saying, this is so awful because we can't predict what's happening. We will control it. When the Russian plane apparently the bomb blew up, I think that's more or less accepted now, although it hasn't been finally proven. But directly the Russian, well, the English, we stopped flying to there, and then everybody else said, "Oh, you're stupid, you can't stop, you don't know that it was a bomb." Now everybody then, within 24 hours, stopped flying to that place. When the Russians began to accept that was probably a bomb planted by ISIS, what did they do? They bombed ISIS more. They doubled the bombing they were doing. It's all about, I've got a bigger gun than you have. It's all that awful dualistic madness.
What will happen if one of the IS people suddenly awakened?
Well, it would be a non-event. I mean, it is a non-event.
And that person wouldn't just continue what he was doing?
Well, maybe. Yeah, probably not. No, he'd just walk away. But so what? In the overall effect, it's hardly noticed.
What's really frightening for me is people knowing there's no safe place.
Yeah.
There is no safe place,
No.
and there will never be a safe place.
No.
There was never a safe place, but till in young years, or if you're, as long as a seeker is there, you believe if I got it, there's a safe place.
Yeah.
But the belief in the safe place is lost now.
Yeah. That's quite frightening. Yeah. But also, there isn't any place at all.
So, connecting to the think about all these crises and the Paris and that, when there is no me there, you would say that there is no fear of death, like.
Oh, obviously not.
Like when you go.
Well, there is no fear of death because there's no such thing as death.
So when you go on the plane, you wouldn't have the idea, oh, there might be someone with bomb or some crazy.
No, there's always that idea that can come up, but there isn't any longer anybody afraid of death because there's nobody that dies. This is death. This is death already. So there isn't anything.
So there would be no energetic involvement in the idea.
Not in the idea of death. No.
That something can happen, for example.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's always a possibility you can't say what's going to happen. But I think we need to be clear about something. This has nothing at all to do with acceptance. When there is no longer a me, there isn't an acceptance or surrender to everything. There just is what happens. And that can mean there might be a reaction or a response to a dangerous situation. There isn't somebody who just sits there and accepts everything that's happening.
No.
That's another silly idea in the scriptures.
That wasn't what I meant.
No. But the idea of death, there isn't any idea of death in that sense. Because there isn't anybody that can die. Well, this is death, so where would you go?
Oh, it's sometimes for me that it's like suddenly fear comes out of nowhere in completely secure situations, sitting somewhere and suddenly a huge fear comes out of nowhere.
Fear can arise anyway because that's what's happening.
But it's like surprise out of nowhere.
Well, it comes out of nowhere, nothing.
But it seems when the me doesn't involve it, then after sometimes it just falls away. When the me gets involved in it,
it gives energy to.
Then it's a really problem. So it's not even what's happening outside of the apparent person, the apparent body outside. cannot be predicted. It's also inside it.
Yeah.
Like you cannot say, oh, in 10 minutes I will have this feeling, because you don't know what.
Nobody in this room has any idea what's going to happen.
It's also scary.
No idea at all. They'd like to, but they don't.
Yeah. There are no hooks, there are no safe.
There's nothing
spots.
sticky any longer.
Right.
When there's no mean, there's nothing sticky.
Yeah. It's like they throw you off the boat into the sea and just swim, and there is only the sea around, and there is no.
This can't be described. Sorry, you're trying to describe it.
Just try to like the. Maybe one more thing. When the me is gone, apparently, when there comes a time to apparently choose, shall I go right, left? There is no sort of choosing and deciding.
In that sense, no, not in that.
It's just spontaneous turning, right? So it's more smooth, like
You're making it sound better now.
like more spontaneous, I mean.
So everything is spontaneous.
Right, even if it appears it's not.
Even if it appears.
It's not spontaneous. It's
Oh,
even if it appears
it's complicated for me, I'm afraid.
sorry.
It's just spontaneous. Who would it appear not spontaneous to?
Like when you think you choose carefully some action, it appears as if it's not spontaneous because it's planned. That's what I mean.
Oh.
But even the
But
idea.
nobody plans, so that's spontaneous as well.
Yeah. So it's only appearing
Yeah.
to be not spontaneous.
If you like. If you would like that. Oh, do you want the mic? Martin.
Might be a stupid question.
No, there's no such thing.
Now, is it still possible to follow a complicated mind?
Is it possible
Is
it possible to?
Is it still possible to follow a complicated mind who's doing all these loopings?
Oh yeah, I do all the time.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
He is complicated. He wants everything to be complicated.
Yeah, but still to follow it to be into that.
Well, but I would still, or this would deconstruct the idea of the complicated ideas, because this isn't about something complicated. It's about something utterly simple and ordinary.
Very often.
And very obvious. Except to me.
In this case, it's like going like noise. Switching off or I don't know.
Yeah.
When it's getting too
I mean, that sort of talk, Christian talk and teaching talk is what I call spiritual algebra. You know what algebra in German?
Acrobatics. No, like this.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys put in that coffee, but there seems to be there's some sort of energy or stillness that's not the spiritual stillness. It's
kind of words to it.
Yeah, kind of aliveness.
Yeah.
And loosening of something that was held.
Yeah.
And it's I can't really describe it.
I can't, but I can't.
Yeah. But it is quite wonderful, and I don't really have a question about it, but it's just like what's happening.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it, and it's not something that nothing to do with me. It seems, it's kind of around. I suppose that's why I came.
Yeah.